All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Jorge Fernandez here with KETIV. Thank you for joining us for today's session on leveraging your search tools inside of Vault. Today's presenter is Jonathan Creek, which comes to us with a lot of experience, especially in the Vault arena. So I'll let Jonathan take over from here. Jonathan, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Jorge. So for you guys that are new to AVA, this is kind of just a recap of what this is and when we do it. So this is a live web-based training. It's really technical-based, a technical-based learning program designed for engineers and designers. We go over manufacturing and product development. This service is free for KETIV subscribers, and every week we have certified technical experts that are going to deliver this content to you every Thursdays at 10 a.m. Some of our upcoming sessions are Inventor Content Center, Inventor FEA, Inventor 2016 R2 Force Effect and Shape Generator, and we actually did an article and a video on our blog recently about that. And then on December 17, we've got AutoCAD Electrical coming up. And so mentioning the blog, we do a lot of the blogs posts sometimes before AVA sessions to get you excited about it. Kind of gauge interest, and then sometimes blog posts after an AVA session to go into more details, maybe questions that you have that you want specifically asked. And so the two sites are useketiv.com /AVA and blog at ketiv.com. So a little bit about myself. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just really quick, everybody, I forgot to mention, don't forget there's a little question panel in your GoToMeeting control panel there. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be monitoring that as well. Of course, we'll have a Q&A session at the end, but feel free to ask any questions if necessary throughout the presentation. Sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
No problem. So I've been involved with Vault for about 14, 15 years and some other data management products before that. And really, at KETIV, I handle product lifecycle management, PLM, PDM, and automation solutions. So today's agenda is really the ability to search and find files. You know, there's a powerful search engine inside Autodesk Vault, and there's a lot of things that you may gloss over, or you may get unexpected results, and you're not really sure why I'm getting these type of results when I'm searching for an exact part number or something like that. So we're going to walk through the best practices and then some tips and tricks of things that generally I even take for granted that they're there because I've known about them for so long, and they don't really, you know, have focus on them in blog articles and things. So our topics are the type of searches, searching with tokens, and we'll talk about what those are, the criteria and query builder, searching with wildcards, and that's how that differs from tokens. And there's a prompt for value and Boolean operators underneath that. And then content indexing, the ability to actually search inside documents. So if you have text in a PDF, you can actually search on that. And then finally, save searches to kind of go through and save yourself some time. You can set up project searches, folder searches, and things like that. So without further ado, let's actually jump right into Vault. So when we first look inside Vault, you're going to see this little search bar up here. And then what we call this is the quick search. It's the basic search for Vault. And you know, if I search something in here, I'm going to search for I'm just going to search my initials. So I'm going to come up with, you know, everything that has JDK in it, but I'm also getting some results here that don't have JDK in it. I have B setup, I've got small burner, I've got some other parts in here, and so maybe I think, well, maybe I just didn't give it enough criteria, so I'm going to add, you know, I want to find this brew 03. So I enter that and I get the same results. It didn't actually narrow the search. I actually typed the exact full file name minus the extension of the assembly that I'm looking for, but it still gave these other results. And really the reason for that is it's a token-based search. And what that means is that this basic search is actually breaking up my criteria here to JDK, the actual underscore as a separate token, the brew, and then O3. So really what it's doing for you is it's actually applying asterisks on either side of each thing. So it becomes a token. It breaks it out by, as it sees I'm using some sort of letter combination, then I've broken it with an underscore. So that's going to take the underscore and use it as a token as well. The other thing that is causing these results to come up like they are is that if we actually click on this little arrow over here, we'll see that's a query builder. And it's because I'm actually searching on literally every single property and attribute inside Vault. So if we wonder why this B setup assembly is coming up, we can look at it real quick and see, oh, well, in the comment, there was a copy design done, right? And it's actually made the automatic comment that says it was copied from that assembly that I'm looking for, so that's why it's showing up. Now we can take that and say, well, what if I want to only search on the file name? So I'll take it out of the multiple property search, and I'll click OK. Now I get what I want. I only get what I want. And so I can actually change this to any number of categories I want. And these are just kind of like, 4 properties that you may search on all the time. So, a lot of, by default, comments is in there. So maybe I don't really care about the comments in my, my basic setup. So I may want to change that to something like category name where I want to search a lot more on. And then author, that's probably not, maybe checked out by something I would search for on. And file name is always a great one. So I can change that, and I can also go into this criteria builder itself, and I can go in and add new ones. So if I want to add another one, I can go in and add the comments back if I want. And then you can change those individually. So you can kind of build a standard search criteria, but again, this is still the basic search. So I don't have the ability to do anything other than just narrow it on properties. So I don't get Boolean operators, I don't get asterisks. It's actually automatically applying those asterisks like we said before, because it's still a token-based search. The next kind of search or type of search that we have in Vault is really the more advanced search. And so if I go in it, it's kind of clear this criteria. You can get to the advanced search from a couple different ways. You can just click this little arrow at the bottom and go to Find, or you can access it from the top menu here. So I prefer to just do it here because usually I'm doing a search and then realizing I'm not getting the results I want, or I need to do a little bit deeper search. So I actually just go to the Find option here. And so now I actually still have access to this basic search, and it may be a little confusing if you've already went here because this is, again, the token-based search, and the advanced is what we call wildcard searching. So we still have the ability to search on a particular property. So if I wanted to go back to that file name, but now I actually have some Boolean operations. So I can actually say, well, it contains it. So if I searched for JDK and it actually, I want to search JD contains, it's going to find these 3 files because it does contain that. And it's kind of straightforward. You have does not contain, contains, is empty, is not empty. So it, is empty is just not going to be, it's not going to be set, is not empty, there's some sort of value. You have is and greater than or less than. So those are pretty powerful in themselves. But then you actually get into other Boolean operations. So I can say is, but then I can actually come in and actually apply, maybe I only want JDK with an asterisk, or I can apply an asterisk on either side, because the token-based search is automatically applying asterisks on both sides for every single value it sees as an individual token or identifier to search on. But now I have a little bit more flexibility. So I can go underscore B asterisk, and so now I'm only getting the ones with brew in it because it starts with a B. Beyond this, the kind of basic asterisks, I also have question mark. And so a question mark is going to search for, asterisk search for any character after what you've already entered. A question mark only does a single character. I haven't found a whole lot of uses for that. For maybe I'm looking for certain file numbers and the number is the only thing that's changing about it. And I just say, I know this is, basically what the part number is, but I don't know the last character or something, and so I want to put a question mark there to identify a single character. Then you also have the more common Boolean operators like AND. So and to kind of distinguish this isn't going to give you different search results. What it's going to do is just going to make sure that JDK and something else is in the file name. So if I say JDK and brew, right, I'm going to get those same type of results. You also have OR, so maybe a particular project you're looking for. I want to say it's project 01 or 02, right? And then you also have not, so you can actually add in is this, is not that. And this is one of the biggest things that I see people gloss over. So you notice when I was going through these searches and stuff, I actually had to clear the search. Just because really that search criteria is a single, it adds it in so you can switch it between them, but I can't, I usually have to go back and reset this. So for something you search on a lot, particular file names, you can click this little button here. It's a prompt for value. So now when I actually say find now, it's going to add that criteria there, but it says ask me later. So what that enables me to do is I can type it as I need to. A lot of people don't know that's there, so I can't find again. I can quickly come back to it without actually having to clear my searches. Now I can go brew and search for something different. Now, so with this options, there is also what we were talking about before of content indexing. So if I want to actually, this is doing everything that's inside Vault, but it's not looking inside file content. And so this is another little thing that a lot of people just kind of miss, I think, when they're going through Vault, is they may come down and hit the advanced find here, but the search subfolders, searching file content is kind of missed. So if I actually select that, that's going to turn on the content indexing ability for that search. Now, just to give you a little background on what it takes to set up content indexing is you have to turn that option on your server, not through this client side. So you would have to log in as an administrator, turn on content indexing on the server, and then rebuild your search index. And that takes a little while, and now you'll be able to search inside PDFs and Word documents and things. And the technology that gives you the ability to search inside those is something called iFilters. And so Adobe makes their own iFilters for PDFs, Microsoft makes their own iFilters for Word docs and other things, and those are usually readily available and easy to install on the server, and then you'll be able to do content indexing just like Windows does. And typically Windows 7, Windows 10 has a bunch of iFilters pre-installed, where Vault is kind of targeting the typical types of documents. So we have customers that use TIFF images rather than PDFs. Maybe they're in the progress of trying to convert all their TIFFs to PDFs. So the TIFFs, they have a specific iFilter. It's not installed by default on Vault. You'd have to actually go that. But then any other file type you can think of, Vault doesn't really care about file types. So if you want to search in the context of those files, you can go find those iFilters, make sure that they're approved for server use, and install those, and you'll be able to do that. So going back to this advanced find, some of the other things that you can do with this is, when we talked about the prompted value, that enables me to keep doing searches while I'm in this, but what if I close this search? I don't want to have to go through and build this query again every single time. So some of the most popular save searches are to check out files. I want to see, I was a Vault administrator for many years in the industry, and that was one of my daily tasks. And one of the daily tasks that I put on everybody's machines is at 5 o'clock, when you guys are at lunchtime, make sure you know what files you have checked out and make sure they're checked in. Because you could lose that, right? If the server goes down over the weekend, maybe you lose your work. So we can search by checked out by, and I'll say is, because I know my exact username. I'll go ahead and type that in. So it's going to give me these results. It's going to immediately tell me these are the files that are checked out to me. But now I can come up to this little save button and save it and say This is going to be checked out by me. And when I save that, it comes over here, and you can see I've already kind of done that search. But now I can be anywhere inside Vault, and I can come in and I just click on it, right? So for your users, for administrators, it's something really nice to just kind of check. And I can't tell you how many times where I've set up one of these searches and said, hey, make sure you guys are checking your searches at 4:50 or something before you leave for the day. There's been so many people that said, hey, I have 50 files checked out and I had no idea. I was trying to use good practices of checking in my files, but for whatever reason, maybe it prompted me from Inventor to, do you want to check out the file? And I just clicked past it. And they had files checked out. And normally they wouldn't even know until somebody said, hey, are you working on that nozzle 03 assembly? And you're like, no. Why do you have it checked out? Right? So it's an easy way. And then you can also come back in and do a search checked by all. And right now it's just me that has files checked out. But when I was in the industry, that would be hundreds, maybe thousands of files. And so I could kind of keep track of what people are doing. Number one, what are people working on? You wouldn't be working on it without checking it out. So I can see all the files that people are working on. I can help coordinate teams that say, okay, these guys have these assemblies checked out. You need to make sure that they check it in and update it before you start working on this next leg of the project. So there's multiple uses for that, but that is an integral part of the search engine. And so how do we kind of narrow these results other than by using properties, by using the criteria? So it's pretty simple. This is the method I use a lot. So I'm searching on the root most of the time. I'm actually selecting this Project Explorer root, the $sign, so I can search the entire vault. But maybe we have some customers that have 1 million files in their vault. So doing a search on the top level for something like a drawing is going to show more results than it can even show in your search results or in your first pane. You're going to have to go scroll across multiple pages to even see it. So how do we narrow that down? You really just need to click on a folder. So you'll notice that when I'm clicking on the root, it actually shows you this kind of phantom text that says you're searching on the root. If I choose data, now I'm only searching on data. So I've already narrowed that search result to only things that are under this folder. And I could go down further. Every time I actually click on something, it is only that project, only that folder. And the other way to get to it is if you're in the Find section, you'll notice this is the root folder. You can come up, and again, this is something that people gloss over, is to hit the Browse button, right? So now we can come and actually choose the folder. And now I'm only searching in that. And actually, this is kind of cool because I've basically narrowed the folder for the basic and advanced search all in one if I'm in this type of menu. The other thing that we can do here, and this is another thing that people kind of gloss over, is, with Vault Professional, you have items, you have change orders. So, I maybe only want to search change orders rather than the default kind of files. So now I can just sort. I'm only looking at change orders now, right? I'm only looking at items now. So that's a way to narrow narrow the results again too. And then you have options for that is to find the latest version only. So that would drastically reduce some things. So maybe I'm searching on files, I'm searching on the criteria that I want, but maybe I'm actually picking up older versions of something. Somebody put in the criteria I'm looking for a version like 5 years ago. So, if I'm only searching on the latest versions, then I don't have to worry about that. I know that something is, at least it's the current version. And you can always reset any of these searches by going to New. We're not going to go really over reporting, but I do want to mention that anytime you do a search like this, whether it be a save search that you're opening up or you're doing some sort of criteria search here, you can actually report on that. So that will give you an actual report template that you can save out. So if I want to show somebody and they don't have it in their vault, that they have files checked out. I used to do that. I would go kill some trees and print out some reports and put them on their desk, and they would be surprised, like, wow, I didn't realize I had that many files checked out. Or it's a good way. A lot of times we would put project numbers in, have that as an actual property, and a project manager as an actual property. So I could go search and see, all the projects that a particular project manager had. So there's infinite uses for it. You just have to know how to employ those. So really, that's what I have to show you today. So I'm going to switch back over to our template here. And really the key takeaways from this is we kind of learned the best practices for using the search tools. So you're using token-based searches. You know exactly what to expect. The two main types of searches, so really token, which is basic, advanced or wildcard searches. Each search type has specific criteria and output and different ways to narrow those searches. So we learned how to augment that search to narrow the results. And then we're going to better understand why we're getting certain results. And we can easily save our searches to use later. So I'm going to turn it over to Jorge for our Q&A section.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So we definitely had a few questions here. I know one of them I definitely answered. Let me go back up to the top here. So there was one question about how to do a search for previous revisions or versions.
So previous versions, that little option that we selected that was actually only searching on latest revisions, you would want to uncheck that and search on the actual revision. Or you could actually, there's an actual, let me see if I can show it to you real quick. If I go into my find, there is actually a revision historical, okay? So there's a state historical, there's a revision historical, but then if you're looking at other properties beyond there's a lot of people that 16 was the first version that you're able to roll back revisions. So a lot of companies didn't use the automatic revision scheme, so they have an actual property in their Inventor drawing or something. Then you would, if you were using something other than the historical automatically maintained revision or state in Vault, you would have to actually take off this option here. So you would have to search on older versions of the file inside Vault.
Awesome, thanks, Jonathan. There's one here that this is interesting. I don't think I had tried it like this before. They're asking, can a saved search be saved in the My Shortcuts browser? So is it possible to just drag that into the My Shortcuts?
Oh, down in here?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. I didn't think so either. I thought, yeah, if you could just try that really quick, it cleared up that question.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of in the same space. I mean, shortcuts are down here. I can pull that up to be right near my saved searches if I want to, right? So I don't know why you would do that, but yeah. So it's easily accessible from this My Saved Search directory.
Sure. And then, and then if you're using Inventor or AutoCAD too, you'll see shortcuts and you can do searches inside of the Open from Vault dialog box too. By the way, if that's another reason for putting it in there for some of you. There was another question. Can you search in just a specific subfolder? I think you kind of started showing that already, right?
Yeah. So the two ways that you can do that is, again, from this kind of advanced section, you get the basic or the advanced from here, but you browse to that specific folder, or you can come in and select the folder. But another thing that we didn't talk about is the ability when you save a search. So let me go back to my advanced search here, and let me narrow the folder down to, let's say, something like this, okay? So I've chosen a subfolder under data. And now I'm going to save that search. I'm not going to put any criteria in there. I'm just going to call it folder. Okay, so I didn't put any criteria. I saved the search. If I come back to my save search, I can come over to this folder, right? So that's a save search. I can go to the file menu and say open search and go right to that folder and open, and it immediately changes your directory. So now I'm only searching in there, and then I have all my basic and advanced tools. So that's another tip, I guess, is that if you want to quickly access some projects, you can save the search. Don't put any criteria in it, or maybe you do want to put criteria in it, but the easiest way is just to narrow the search and save it, and then it'll just pop back in there. Otherwise, you're going to have to come in the browse and actually select it again, or you're going to have to actually select the folder here. And I chose a real deep-seated folder for a reason, because it's, you know, if you're up at the root, you may not want to browse down and actually select it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. All right, I think that wraps it up as far as questions go. If you want to move forward there, Jonathan.
Sure.
Yeah, so a reminder to everybody, you know, that we have these sessions every Thursday at 10 a.m. The next session is going to be on Inventor Content Center. Last week we had a part 1, which will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, by the way, if it's not already up there. But we have a part 2 to this, and shows you how to publish parts into the Content Center next week at 10 a.m. again. And you'll notice there's a couple other ones on Inventor. I know we kind of grouped some together, but especially because I wanted to definitely make sure we wanted to make sure that we covered the R2 version that just came out 2 weeks ago, I think it was now. And of course, we'll have plenty more content for you guys coming here shortly. So we remind you to again visit all our media sites here, whichever ones you're most comfortable with. You know, we tend to also give you updates through there as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Any last comments, Jonathan?
Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Thanks.